to kind of demonstrate this, what I'm going to be doing is basically duplicating the histogram that I just created. So if you guys remember, class 4 was the data that we were looking at originally, okay, or looking at in this example. And at the end of the day, after we broke down all the data, we ended up with 5 in each group, okay? So to do this on a spreadsheet, like I said, is actually going to be pretty easy, because unlike in the case for the categorical variables, when we were dealing with categorical variables, we had to kind of do the intermediate pivot table in order to set up our bar chart. In the case of a histogram, the spreadsheets that we use actually build in a histogram tool. So to do a histogram for class 4, all I really have to do is highlight all of class 4. So that's click and drag all the way down. So I don't have to highlight the entirety of the data set like I did earlier. Okay. And all I have to do to start a histogram is go to insert chart. Okay. Now it's going to choose various things. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go from, not from scatter thing, I'm going to go to histogram chart. They actually even name it the same, which is awesome. Okay. And for the x-axis, we'll go ahead and use that. Okay, this is class 4 right down there. And note, it already kind of basically looks like kind of what we generated before. Now, there are 2 things that you will often have to change. In this case, it made all the right guesses. So when it makes a histogram, it makes a lot of guesses. It basically guesses how wide you want to make each class. It basically guesses where you want to start your scores. Okay, so it makes all kinds of guesses. Okay, but we can actually change it so it's not guessing. It's actually computing what we want. And the 2 things that I would like you guys to definitely change or customize when you're making a histogram is going to be the starting of your first class. So in our case, we started the Fs, we started them at 50. And where we set that up is we have to actually go to customize, horizontal axes, and right here for min, we can actually set that we want to start our scale at 50. Okay, now note, that didn't really change anything here because it already decided that we should start it at 50. We just got lucky. The other thing that we should adjust is in the histogram portion. Okay, so if you remember, we decided to make our histograms such that basically it started a new class every 10 points. So we went from 50, started a new one at 60, started a new one at 70, started a new one at 80. Now we called that the bin or the class width. In this particular thing, they call it the bucket size. Now, in this case, the bucket size says auto, and that just means that you're letting Google decide how wide you want to make your buckets. The way that you change it is you actually click there, okay, and you can type in any number for the bucket size. So if I type in 50, okay, did everybody see what I just made? I made one big bucket. Okay, and a bucket that started at 50 and ended at 100. Now this is a ridiculously bad bucket or ridiculously bad bin because basically I just said everything in the whole entire data set is exactly the same. I can also change this to something else like a bucket size of 2. And do you see what it's doing there? Now it's starting a new group, basically like a new letter grade every 2 points. Well, this is a little bit ridiculous because it's almost making too big of a distinction between the scores. I had like a 5, I get a different graph. But in this case, we want our bucket size to be 10. Okay?